living in the illusion. Now, last time we got together, and we had a lot of fun, because in our imagination, we went to a beach in Florida. Now, you might recognize this if you saw the last video, because this is how we ended. And so I'm going to use this just to quickly go through our conclusion from our last video. And what we were looking for is to answer the question or the statement, what is the past? And you'll have to look at it because it was a lot of fun. We concluded nothing real can be in the past. Nothing real can be in the past. So, what does that leave us in the past? Our memories. When an event happens in the present moment and it moves out of the present moment, it's gone. The event is gone. How hard is that to understand? Because we're sure that it's in the past. The event isn't in the past. So what was our conclusion? All you have is memories in the past. And now, are memories real? No, they can't be real. Why? Because nothing real can be in the past. Now, you remember a little truck? All the artifacts that people think they discover, which is really they uncover, and they say, oh, look, I discovered this old sword in the past. I didn't discover it in the past. It was always there. It was always there in the present moment. Just because our senses didn't sense it doesn't mean that it wasn't there. That's a confusion in our language and how we describe things as being in the past. Very confusing, because now we're programmed to believe things in the past exist in the past in a physical way. Now, everything must be in the present moment. How exciting is that? Just like in the last video, my little truck was always in the present moment. Language is so confusing, but we think it explains everything in the world. No, language is not that great. So now, just to go back, because when you think about this stuff, it gets pretty confusing. Nothing real can be in the past. When an event happens in the present moment and moves off the present moment, the event is gone. There's nothing of the event in the past but memories. And you create your memories. Now, I have a video that I'll put up over there on the top that will, when I point, it's backwards when you're making a movie and I'm watching the monitor. So I'll put it up there, and it's how memories are created. They don't just happen. You create everything in the memory from your past. But the past isn't real. So your memories aren't real. Now we're going to talk about what makes the memory real for you. Now, I've already done a video on that, and it'll be background information. So again, I'll put that video link up there. So in a moment, we're going to come back and we'll talk about how to heal the past and just what are you healing? Oh, this will be interesting. So stick around and we'll see you in a moment. That's my clue that I'm going to cut you off. Well, we're back again. And we have the discussion that we're going to go through or talk about in this video. So I better read it to you because sometimes I don't write so good. Now, when you heal the past, what are you healing? Because I said this was going to be about healing the past. That's why we went through the little overview just a moment ago, to make it clear. Nothing real is in the past. So now we're going to heal the past. So what are you healing? Something that is not real. But that doesn't stop you from believing it's real. Now, what I am trying to do is to raise your awareness and maybe put some doubt in your belief system that the past is real. Because I've said it, it's not real. And for the most part, you will say, oh, it is real. Because when I bring up a memory, it feels real in my body. So that's why I put a link up to that other video on how you create your memories. Now, I also did some of this work before on recalling a memory, because it is in the recall of the memory after the event is long gone that convinces you The past is real because I feel it in my body. And that's part of our programming. But the understanding in the illusion is two things. Number one, your body does not interface with the outside world in any way. Oh, what a hard understanding. There's nothing in the outside world that your body feels directly. It's part of the illusion. Everything you think your body is feeling is a reflection of your mind and your mind's interpretation of signals that come through the body. Don't stop. Come through the body, signals that come through the body to the mind, and the mind interprets them based upon your past, which are only memories. Oh, there is a lot in the illusion that we have no idea with the conscious mind. So now, let's us get back to the healing of the past. So, I'm going to draw something that I did before in one of the other videos, but we'll explain it a little bit different, and maybe it may make some sense. So, here it is. We're talking about memories. Memories are stored in the subconscious mind. Now, we talked about that before. Does your conscious mind have any idea what the subconscious mind holds? No. The subconscious mind is a big black box. It lets information in and it gives information out. But what goes on in there, we have no idea. So I'm going to draw that. Subconscious. So we got the subconscious mind. So I gotta remember how to keep spelling these big long words. Mind. Okay? We'll put it right there. Now, in our description also, we have where that information comes to. And in other videos, for lack of something else, I call that an active part of your mind, because it seems very active when you bring a memory out of the subconscious mind into an active area where you can sense it, feel it, and all of that. Basically, it's an interpretation. So I call this the active mind. Now, the active mind is a combination of the mind, the brain, and the central nervous system. And what it does is it takes information, in this case, a memory. Memories are stored in a subconscious mind. Memories. memories are in the subconscious mind. And when they get triggered by all kinds of means, they end up in your conscious, well, actually, it's not your conscious mind directly. It is another facility that I call the active mind, which is the mind, the brain, central nervous system. Why? Signals come through the central nervous system. That's why I said your body doesn't feel anything, because you have senses in your body that take in, that are information from the outside. Doesn't go to the body. The body has no facility for handling the information in its raw form. So it must go to be decoded and interpreted. So the body directly doesn't feel anything. Now, I know you think it does. And that has been discussed in the past. And if you have any questions, put them down below and I'll go through some of that again. So now we have the active mind, where we interpret. Now let me put interpret down there. Interpret. Interpret this information, because this is just data from the subconscious mind. So your memories, when they come out of the subconscious, it's just information. All you are is a receptacle for information. So the information comes in, now, have to interpret it. What does the information mean? So now we have an interpretation, and now the other part of it is the body. How does the body know what's happening? How does the body know what's happening? Well, it gets information from the interpretation. So when the active mind interprets the memory, because it's just data, it comes in and says, now it doesn't care if the data was 2 minutes ago, 10 years ago, 60 years ago. It's just data. The data comes in and it interprets it and sends out a signal. So we have a signal. Signal coming out of the interpretation through the central nervous system. And it goes to the body. Now the body now receives a signal. Did the signal come from the outside? No. The signal came from an interpretation inside of you. Why was it interpreted this way? The way the signal says. Now, if the memory was a negative memory, some kind of abuse, some kind of lost your job, you're as the old folk song says, the old country song, your pickup stopped and your dog died and your girlfriend ran away, or something like that. Very bad interpretation. Now, you stored the data when it happened. The event is gone, the event is gone, and you have only memories, and the memories are data. You take the data into here, into your active mind. You interpret the data, again, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Unless you change the data, your interpretations are going to be much the same. So if you had childhood abuse and now you're 60 years old, and you think about the childhood abuse, the data is going to tell you, oh, I remember that, and it was real. No, it wasn't real, because it's gone. There's nothing real in the past. It's only data that you stored the way you did. So now you bring it into here, you send out a signal goes to the body, bad. Let's start with a bad interpretation. Terrible, awful. You're going to send a signal. What's the body going to do with that signal? Now, we talked about some of this before, but there's so much information. It's going to change. If it's bad, it's going to turn on your fight or flight response, which is going to, anxiety goes up, or depression, or some other chemicals are going to be released, because every thought produces chemistry, and then the body is going to signal the active mind as to what systems it changed to match the signal that the active mind is sending based upon the data from the memory. Oh. Now, as it does that, we talk. I keep going back and saying we talk because I know I'm picking up different people and they haven't gone through all the background. So I gotta say, because I call this data 1 from the subconscious mind. Okay. Now you're sending out a signal to the body on how to respond to this bad interpretation. So the body now receives the signal and changes its systems to match the signal. And if it's bad, you move into survival. Now notice, it's not because of what's going on outside of you. You are creating it inside. It's you. You are creating this bad interpretation based upon the data from your memory, which isn't real. Now, what makes it seem real is the next couple of steps. So, it's going to send information back as to the systems it changed to match the signal. So, this is data 2. So now the active mind is dealing with 2 inputs. The original memory and the feedback, because this here is a feedback loop. Got to get that. That's feedback. And in a short period of time, these 2, the signal and the data 2 and the data 1, really fast. Now, some of my other videos I put in how fast this feedback loop happens. But just to let you know, it will reach its balance point within nanoseconds. Nanoseconds. That's how fast the stuff is all working. Now here's the thing. In all of this, we have the feedback from the body. The body is doing exactly what it should do based upon the signals that it's getting. And the subconscious mind is just passing information that it has been storing. So this stuff is all happening very fast. The one thing we haven't put in is how you know what's happening, and that is the conscious mind. So we got to put the conscious mind in. So now we got the conscious mind involved. See, this stuff is all happening so fast. Conscious mind. I wrote it on an angle because I didn't want to squat on the floor. So it's on an angle. Now the conscious mind, which tells you what's happening, that's the only way you know what's going on. It looks at what's happening here, the interpretation, and looks at the body and tells you the body is feeling terrible. Now I got it, maybe I didn't do a good job of explaining, but the body doesn't feel anything. The body just sends signals and information. The only time you know when the body is hurting is an interpretation in the active mind of the data the active mind receives, which is the feedback from the body and the original data from the subconscious mind. Body doesn't feel anything until, well, it never does. There's not an until. The body doesn't feel anything. All feelings come from the interpretation in the mind, the brain, central nervous system. The body feels. Doesn't feel bad, doesn't feel good. It just is. It is a reflection. It is a reflection of what you're doing in here. Now, real quickly, now, if you understand this model, by the way, how you change the data is important to this model. We have input from the subconscious mind, data, and we have a signal from the interpretation in the active mind, and we have a feedback of data from the body. How do you change this so that the interpretation shifts? It's with the feedback. It's with the data that the body sends back. How do you change the data that the body sends back? Well, you can try to do it intellectually. You can try to do it rationally. And but when you do that, you're going to believe the conscious mind. And the conscious mind is telling you, oh, the body is in pain, the body is hurting, it feels depressed, it feels anxious, it feels scared. Don't feel any of that. Those are all interpretations that it gets from here. Now you're conscious. Now I told you how fast this is happening. Everything's happening in nanoseconds, except for the conscious mind. Now, some of my other videos, I've already put some up there. If you go through them, you'll find out that the mind is, in this whole process of the mind, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, the body, the interpretation, the brain, all of that operates fast, extremely fast. Conscious mind, slow, pitifully slow. So you don't know all this is happening. You think it's all what the conscious mind tells me. No. So you don't know that you can change and heal your memory. Can't heal the past. There is no past. Your event is gone. You're not healing. You're not changing the past because it doesn't exist. But you believe it does. No, it's all memories. So what are you healing? Memories. How are you going to do that? Well, if you keep them in the subconscious mind, you can't. Where can you heal them? Okay? You got to bring them into the conscious mind. Into the active mind. You got to bring them into the active mind and go through this process. And I said the feedback loop is where you change the data. So you manipulate the feedback loop, the data coming from the body. How do you do that? Well, there's all kinds of ways. One is called self-forgiveness, the recognition that there is no past, and it's only an illusion. And since it's only an illusion and it's not real, because nothing real can be in the past, you can let it go. You can forgive yourself. Self-forgiveness. Well, that's always sometimes that's a little hard. So the other techniques that work in changing the feedback loop are many. I'll only name a few. Meditation, hypnosis, relaxation, repetition, NLP, MDR, EMDR, Psych-K, tapping. There are many that change this feedback loop. And when the feedback loop changes, you change your interpretation. As you change your interpretation, it goes from bad to I don't know to sometimes positive. Why can't it be positive? It's not real anyway. You can change it to positive by changing this feedback loop, by letting go of the past. It's not magic. It's the way you operate. But you have chosen to operate through the conscious mind and believe that the body is in pain or hurt or sad or disappointed or anxious. Body isn't doing any of that. It's all done in the mind. It's all done in the active mind. Oh, what an interesting problem to recognize you never change the past. There is no past to change. All there is to change is your interpretation of your negative memories. Now you can interpret positive ones too, differently. But we're mainly concerned about negative ones because we think they affect the body. Now they only affect the interpretation. And you can change that. This is only one method, and I mentioned several of the techniques that you can use to do that. And later we'll talk about why you might not want to change your memories and heal. Oh, that's an interesting subject too. So in the meantime, be good to yourself. Think about this. Recognize what you're healing. You're healing something that doesn't exist except in your mind. Not in the body, in the mind. The body is a direct reflection of what you are doing in your mind. So you can subscribe below. If you have any questions around this, now a lot of times you want to talk about other videos I did, but let's just talk about this one if you have any questions, or you want certain areas maybe expanded. How can he ever say that? Well, we shall see. So, see you later. Be good to yourself. Bye.